Hello there, my friends. Welcome again to Indian Story Read Along. Today's book is very important to me because it has to do with names. And it has to do with names of people who live in one place where many different names are common, but their name is not very common and people have trouble with it all the time. And this is how I felt as an Indian child growing up in Canada. And I'm sure a lot of other Indian children and South Asian children and African children feel that kind of way too, having a different name from where they are. This is called Always Anjali. It's by Sheetal, Sheth and illustrated by Jessica Blank. Let's get started. Once upon a restless night, a little girl named Anjali lay wide awake in her bed. She was turning 7 and she had super important business on her mind. Bikes. All she wanted was one of her own. And you can see, Anjali lives in a place that isn't completely Indian. You can tell because in India, they don't have things like hardwood floors. Not all the time, not everywhere. But they do here. And what else does she have in her room? She has a rocket ship, a soccer ball, a gymnastics poster, but she also has Indian things like those drums on the ground, those tablas. And she also has Indian jewelry, her bangles and her necklace there. So she's kind of part of both cultures in maybe North America and in India. Finally, the sun rose and Anjali sprung out of bed. She zoomed downstairs, right past her mom, not stopping until she found herself in front of a large box. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and carefully opened it. What do you think is in the box? Of course. Thank you, thank you, thank you! It's her bike. It's perfectly stupendous, just like a race car. Anjali cheered as she took a spin around the kitchen. Can I take it to the school carnival this afternoon? Anjali hit the brakes at her mom's feet. Please, please, pretty please. How big is this kitchen? It just occurred to me. She's riding her bike around in there. Anjali's face lit up when her mom nodded. After school, Anjali and her best friends, Mary and Courtney, were riding their bikes together around the carnival. Mary spotted a booth that was selling personalized license plates. Awesome! We should all get matching plates for our bikes. Superb! Anjali and Courtney agreed as they made their way to the booth. Now, Mary and Courtney found theirs right away. Anjali looked and looked. And here I feel this pain in my soul. Because I was this little girl like 30 years ago, anytime we went somewhere special and I wanted a hairbrush or something like that with my name on it, and it was never, ever, ever going to be there. Anjali asked if they had any more plates somewhere else. Sorry, kid, the cashier grumbled. Can you please check? Anjali pleaded. The cashier muttered, What's your name? Anjali. Huh? Spell it. Anjali. And ever since I was about Anjali's age, I learned that I had to spell my name after saying it because no one was going to know what it was if I just pronounced it. I had to spell it to help people. The cashier chuckled and tossed a plate in front of Anjali. Angela. Yeah, it's the closest that they're going to get. Unfortunately, Anjali suddenly heard one of the older boys, Zachary, snickering. They're not going to have a plate for someone like you, Anjali. Anjali's face got hot. Peanut butter and jelly. Can I get a peanut butter and jelly with a dot on top? Now Zachary is just like full-on racist at this point. Then she heard laughter. Peanut butter and jelly. "Can I get a peanut butter and jelly?" More classmates had joined Zachary. Anjali blinked back tears. Now, I want you to take a look at this picture. I found this picture really interesting here because here you see all different kids of all different races and all different feelings. Some of them are uncomfortable, some of them are laughing along, some of them are angry and just looking like they want to get out of there. And our friends are definitely angry, but no one is saying anything because at that age, you're not really sure what to say. Even when you're a grown-up, you're not really sure what to say and you're not sure how to intercept someone being mean or racist against someone else. You just don't know what to do in that moment. At dinner that night, Anjali cleared her throat. "I'm changing my name to Angie," she announced. "Anjali, why would you want to do that? Your name is beautiful," Anjali's dad assured her. "No, it isn't. It's embarrassing. And it's Angie," Anjali cried. "Your name is a very important part of who you are," Anjali's mom said. "Exactly," Anjali said defiantly, "and no one has heard of it, no one can spell it, and frankly, I hate it." "You are not changing your name," Anjali's dad said firmly. "Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am." Anjali burst into tears and ran to her room. Usually when someone is really angry, they're kind of hurt and sad underneath. And that's what's making her act out. And there she is crying under her covers. And her mommy comes along and sees her. "Anjali, do you know we picked your name out especially for you? From the moment we saw you, we knew we needed a special name for a special girl. A name whose meaning would capture your spirit." "My name means something?" Anjali peeked her head out. Her mother nodded. "What? What does it mean?" Anjali challenged her mom. I just remember these feelings so much. Anjali, so her mom tells her, Anjali is a gift, the most precious kind, divine, just like you. "Where does it mean that?" Anjali asked doubtfully. One side note here, Anjali is actually the name of a mythical figure in Hinduism, Hanuman, the monkey god. His mother's name was Anjali, and as a consequence, another name for him is Anjaneya. So that's actually the ancient origins of that name. So her mother says, in India, it's Sanskrit. My name, your dad's name, all of our family's names are from India. India is an enchanting place full of magic and brilliance and power. Be proud of who you are, Anjali. To be different is to be marvelous. Anjali mumbled. Anjali awoke in the middle of the night with a start. She bolted out of bed with a mission. She turned on a little lamp and got to work. An hour later, and with the final touches done, she reviewed her creation one last time. What do you think might be happening here? So she has pencil crayons, watercolors, maybe some pastels, markers, paintbrushes, and construction paper and scissors. What could she be doing? The next day at school, Mary and Courtney were waiting for Anjali with a box. Anjali opened the box, and to her surprise, she found an Anjali license plate. "We made you one exactly like ours. You guys aren't going to believe this, but," Anjali teased gleefully. She pulled the license plate she had made out of her backpack. Mary and Courtney squealed. Their classmates walked over, wondering what was causing all the commotion. When they saw the special license plate Anjali made, everyone wanted one that would be just as one of a kind. Let's see what she made. Look at that! Super blinged out. It has bindies and stickers, stars all over the place. And what's everyone saying? Wow, you made that? Love those colors and how you drew those letters. I've never seen anything like it. What are those beautiful little gem-like things? They're called bindis. Bindis, they're like the dot that Hindu women mostly wear on their forehead, but they're the sticker kind. They're not the kind that you paint on. Cool. Can you make one for me that no one will have too? And then here comes Zachary. Ugh. After school, when Zachary spotted Anjali, he yelled, "Hey, Anjali, did you have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch?" He burst out laughing. Anjali took a deep breath and stood up straight. Looking right at Zachary, she quipped, "They're the best kind." She hopped on her bike and whizzed past Zachary and his friends. She had places to go and didn't have time for foolishness. She knew there was greatness in not being one of the crowd and vowed to always be Anjali. The end. Here is the thing that I thought was really interesting about this book. Usually I read the author's notes, but here you see so many people who are Indian American or Indian English or British or Canadian, Australians living somewhere in the West, but their families are Indian. And there's all these comedians that we watch, and they're like, everyone has the same thing happen to them. They've grown up in the West and they've been called, look, the first one, Aparna Nancherla. She was a really funny comedian. I've been called everything from Aprana to Apram to Anan, and it's generally from well-intentioned but panicking people. My best advice, if you come across an unfamiliar name, ask first or take your best shot and be humble in your attempt. You're definitely not the first and you will never be the last. Or will you? We can dare to dream. And Asif Mandvi, who's a writer and actor and producer, he says, "It was my non-Indian friends who called me out when they heard a family member address me. We've been calling you Asif and you've been letting us? It was absurd that I thought I had to live with it when I simply needed to let my friends accept me for who I really was." And a lot of us go through this kind of thing. Like, we think we have to anglicize our names or westernize them. And we don't. We don't. And there's other ones. Hassan Minhaj, he was on The Daily Show. And this is like my favorite comedian. I love this guy so much. His name is Hari Kondabolu. And he's an Indian American. As a kid, straddling two cultures, having my name said right was important. I wanted to be the same person wherever I was. I remember the first day of junior high school when I decided Harry was no longer acceptable instead of Hari. Those conversations forced me to stand up for myself and gave me confidence. I am who I say I am. And this is why I try to make my kids who have Indian names, Sanskrit and Tamil names, that to correct people and to help people try to pronounce their name right instead of saying, yeah, that's close enough, that's fine, it's okay, like I've always said. And it took me a very long time to kind of get the bravery to correct people and to help them through it. But that's something you should do. Don't change yourself. So this has been Always Anjali, a super important book by Sheetal, Sheth and illustrated by Jessica Blank. I hope you liked this story and I hope you will join us again next time on Indian Story Read Along. We'll see you soon.